Welcome to Worlds Collide, a wrestling card podcast for wrestling fans by wrestling fans, featuring Tony Vella from WrestlingTradingCards.com.
This is like a stock market.
And Zhan Morning from Wrestling with Cards on YouTube. And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer, I'm just posing the question. Join them as they navigate the world of wrestling cards, helping you build a bigger and better collection and making some money along the way. What's up, wrestling fans? Welcome to Worlds Collide. 3 weeks in a row. Yes, that's right. I'm keeping a running tab of getting this name right. So professional.
You got to keep it professional, man. I mean, by this point, we should be professionals.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I should probably introduce myself. Zhan with Wrestling with Cards on YouTube and
Tony with WrestlingTradingCards.com.
Man, batting 1,000. This episode's going to be great. And
I got it. Hold it. Give me a second. I'm going to mark this down on the calendar.
Yeah, it's a record.
Yeah.
Might want to call Guinness, see if they can witness this to get into the world record book.
What are we talking about this week, man?
I think this is something that's kind of overlooked. Different ways to buy and sell wrestling cards. Now, on the surface, people are probably just thinking, oh, I can go to Walmart and buy a pack. Not so much in 2021.
Not so much anymore.
Yeah. So we're going to break down just kind of the pros and cons of some of the most popular platforms. Obviously, we're starting with eBay. So the pros, kind of the widest range of selection you could potentially get. You've got the whole world right in front of you of cards, collectibles, whatever you're into. Easy buyer and seller protection. So, if you don't like something, which it's both a pro and a con, you don't have to worry so much about being scammed. If you are scammed, most of the time eBay is going to side with you in refunding you your money. Or if, postal service screws something up, a lot of times you can get refunded for that. I've had that happen where the seller did nothing wrong and it was the post office. eBay refunded both of us. So there's that. Now the cons, there are definitely cons, and that's too much buyer protection sometimes. Because a lot of times, Tony, I'm sure you can speak for this too, you'll sell a card for $1 and somebody complains about it and wants a refund. I'm like, dude, it's $1. And they should.
Just happened to me today. Just happened to me today on a 75-cent card.
There you go. So a lot of times, and you can provide. I've provided tracking before, and it said it was delivered, but the guy never found the card, so eBay would refund the buyer. So that's a total pain. Customer service is absolutely terrible. If you've got an issue and you email them, like I have never gotten very good responses. I get more responses out of like these other platforms we'll talk about. And I've had to go like directly through PayPal to try to get stuff resolved because eBay wouldn't give me the time of day. And then probably the number one thing, now this isn't as much of a complaint on my part, but I see this from everybody else, is the selling fees. I think it's like 13 to 15% ballpark.
Now, depending on what categories you're selling in, yeah.
And
which is considerably lower than what it used to be, because it was in the 20 percentile at one point.
Right. And I think that has to do with the managed payments. It seems like when they switched to that, the fees went down. And it also, like you said, it depends on, if you have a store, and the levels of stores have lower fees. In my opinion, this isn't a con because you have the world in front of you and it's the cost of doing business. I think a lot of people in the hobby just don't understand business. Like, it takes money to make money. So It's going to cost. But that's my opinions on eBay. What do you think about eBay?
Well, I've recently gotten back into eBay in the last year or so. Years ago, I was a power seller. I gave up my account with like 20 some odd thousand feedback at the time. I was selling quite a bit, having, you're moving a lot of stuff for someone small like me when you're getting, $800 to $1,200 a month eBay bills.
Yeah.
And so you're moving a lot of stuff at that point for a person who's a, one person operation essentially. I never really had a lot of problems with eBay when it came to my customer service with them. I always had good luck in calling them and getting someone who would take care, especially when you're a store owner, they would take care of you better. So I've had some bad experiences, but those are far and few between. I think you're right. It's the cost of doing business. You have to spend money to make money in that sense. It has the widest platform. Like you said, I think the stat was at any given time, there's a little over around 1 million people on eBay at any given time. I've always kind of equated eBay as being like, imagine it being the virtual mall. That's what it is. You have
Virtual
a
mall
shop.
or flea market.
Sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. So just say you're in your flea market or at the mall, like that. And you have your store there at the mall, and yeah, there's a million people walking by out in the in the walkways like that, but doesn't mean they're stopping by your store. You just they're providing a platform for you to have the potential to have all these people there, and that comes at a cost. I mean, people don't understand, I think, the cost of doing business. That from an eBay standpoint, they have a lot of expenses to maintain that stuff. There's servers and people have to customer service support, and there's people get paid, they have paychecks, so I get it. I mean, I moved my VelaCards business away from eBay about 5-6 years ago, and I merged it all into built a website, and I watched my fees go from around 23.5, 24% when you start taking eBay, PayPal fees, all that kind of stuff. I'm paying around 5.5% in total fees. So significant savings.
This may be a little bit different because you kind of, with VelaCards, you have
I built a name recognition, right? So a brand.
So I'm sure that's a little bit different than, say, your average, like your person like me, who is just like buying collections and piecing them out at $1, $2.
Yeah. You'd probably save a lot of money on fees, but then you're spending a lot of your time, which time is money.
Yep.
You're spending a lot of your time trying to promote yourself, to like, hey, I'm no longer on eBay. I have a website. Here's where all my inventory is at, and maintaining all that and through whatever service you're using to host that stuff too. And then again, you're spending monthly, fees to maintain that as well. But eBay. I mean, back when I was doing eBay, I was doing stuff on both eBay and Yahoo auctions. And I was literally buying things off of Yahoo so cheap and then selling them for double on eBay.
Yeah, I'm still doing that. And we'll jump into that next. You got anything else to talk about? I think we pretty much covered eBay. Like, if it's got the most, the best and the most, pretty much.
Yeah, like, and everybody who's selling knows eBay. I mean, eBay is a household name. So, I mean, it's like, unlike going to, I think we're probably going to go to Mercari next, like that. I think that's not a household name, really.
No, let's jump into it. I'll just start with the pros. I think I use this a little bit more than you do. Ease of use. It's very, very simple to just, it's an app based on your phone. I don't even think you can do the desktop, but you just download the app and you search for what you want. It's the interface, very easy to use. There's a lot of deals to be had. I've gotten a lot of stuff on there that is just, it's almost like, how you were talking about eBay is like the mall. This is like the garage sale. Like, it's like people are just wanting to get rid of stuff, it seems like. So they'll label things wrong and they'll price it wrong because they don't know what they have.
This is like mall rats, and Brody goes to his flea market there to go see the 3-nipple teller.
Oh my. I didn't know we were going to be talking about mall rats today. The last actually pro I want to say is the customer service. Believe it or not, I've had several issues with either there was a glitch and I didn't get paid, or there was a problem with an item, or I actually sold an item that got broken on the way there. So I was trying to work out something with the seller and the customer service. Way better than eBay. It's all like messaging based. So you don't have to call anybody. You can actually just message them straight through the app, through the same messaging system that you would message buyers or sellers. So
I've used Mercari only in a couple. One time I bought something and I forget, so I'm not anywhere near experienced. Is the item being mailed directly to you from customer to customer, or does it go from customer to Mercari, then Mercari to you?
Customer to customer.
Okay. But as a seller, you don't get paid until the buyer receives their item, correct?
Yep, and they have 3 days to rate the item, and if they don't rate it, then Mercari automatically rates it as, hey, they didn't rate it, the money's yours.
Okay.
So and I've not really had any issue with that. There's been a couple of glitches that they've had in just the software where it says something arrived, but it didn't, or it says, hey, you need to ship this item, but I shipped it 3 days ago and supplied tracking. Ultimately, those little glitches have never caused any kind of customer service issues with me or a buyer or a seller. So no issues there. The big cons for me on this is you can't safely do PWA shipping. And for most of those in the hobby, that's plain white envelopes. So if you're, on eBay, you can go on there and sell 99-cent cards all day long at volume, at scale. You can't really do that on Mercari because they force you to put in tracking. So if you don't put the tracking information into the item, it continually shows as not shipped. If you just don't have one, you can't bypass it like on eBay, where you can just say, I don't have tracking. This one, you either have tracking or you don't. If you don't, the buyer gets a refund if you're a seller. So that it's good, but it's bad. Another con is the conditions can kind of vary, which kind of rolls into the next thing, which is people overestimate what they have. We talked about the mall, and I said, oh, this is kind of like a garage sale. This aspect of it is like a garage sale / flea market. We've all been to those flea markets where you go in and everything's covered in dust, and they've got that 1990 Don Russ baseball or whatever that's got dust all over it, and they're like $500 for this box.
$500, but this smells like a pack of Newport Beach. Newport,
yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, and that's so you've got to weed through a lot more of that than on Mercari than you do on eBay. So there's deals to be had. It's a pretty good selling platform, but then as far as buying, you just got to kind of be careful. But
do you find, but isn't that kind of same on eBay too, though, as far as conditions go?
It seems like on eBay, people still will take more time to get a little bit better picture. Like literally, so like if this is the card, just say, I've seen pictures where people are holding the card and then taking a picture in this hand, just holding it up in their hand.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I've seen some very blurry ones, very, very blurry.
Yeah. So, you got anything on Mercari?
I've only had one transaction on there. It was pretty smooth, for my recollection of it. I remember waiting extra days to get my package though, and I had asked about my tracking number because the tracking number, the person generated, like they typically do on eBay too, they generate a shipping label, but they actually don't ship it out for a few days afterwards.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
And so I was like, okay, well, I know that you generated a shipping label like 5 days ago, but you still haven't actually shipped it yet. But no, I mean, it's an interesting app. I have it. I do look around a little bit on it, but it's kind of not really what I'm looking for. Like what I'm kind of looking for, I don't find there as often, but not going to give up. But it seems pretty easy.
It's few and far between as the searching goes. Like I just recorded a video on this. Most people know I'm doing the rainbow of the like image that's on the Hogan PMG.
Okay.
And somebody just randomly posted 3 of those cards in that set, and one of them was the out of 10, which is one of the only. I don't have that, and I don't have the 1 of 1. So I saw it. It was like $50 for all 3 of them. I'm just like, buy now. Yeah,
you can sell off the other ones that've got offset your cost of the one you want.
And it was titled like Hogan cards.
Yeah,
that was it. So, and it's very.
Are you finding people on Mercari that sellers on there, are they not as in tune with what they have? Are they really much more flea market? Like, here's a box full of crap. I don't know what it is. Just give me,
It is so much like a flea market because you have that, but then you also have the same. You will find like 97 Cardinal PSA rock cards. Somebody will put $3,000 on it.
Okay.
And we're like, oh, okay, well, we know that's not.
All right. And this person knows because he's aware of the market. So
yeah. And it's the same thing I see when I actually go in person to flea markets. There's really good deals. There's really good deals that people don't know what they have. There's people that are not jerks that price things fairly. And then there's the people who think they have gold and they smell like Newports. So
yeah.
All right. Next. Oh man, I didn't know we were going to talk about cigarettes today. That's cool.
But cigarettes don't get the respect anymore, man.
Cigarettes undervalued.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, social media, selling on Twitter, Instagram. Kind of some pros. You get some really good deals from locals. Again, people just not knowing what they have.
I like to throw in offer up on that as well.
Yeah, we'll throw that in there. Which I'm familiar with it. I haven't actually bought or sold, but I've searched. So
I've done some really good deals on that.
Okay, so we'll let you cover that. Great variety of payment options, because if you're Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, if you're doing something in person, they may just want to trade with you. They may take crypto. They may take who knows what. I've heard some crazy stuff out there. And you can also see the item in person if you decide to meet up, which can kind of be sketchy. But if you've got a question on a card, or if it's a super high end deal, several $1,000s, and you're going to like take a plane trip over there to see the card or something. A lot of I see a lot of people on social media strictly selling through these platforms or through Twitter or through Instagram. I guess the cons would be having to meet in person. I said that was kind of shady to begin with. Trust factors is a big one. I've after you build enough relationships with people, the same people over and over again through social media, you kind of get a little bit more comfortable with people. But when you're first buying, there's people selling hundreds of dollars and thousands of dollars worth of cards on there. And I'm just like, well, you do have the backup of PayPal, friends and family.
Sure.
So you could get the money back that way, but still you don't have that middle guy to kind of hold the money for you, so to speak, and supply that customer service.
I actually did a in-person deal the other day where I went to a card show, I think it was. And then on my way back, I had a thing from OfferUp where somebody had some raw deal cards. And so I stopped by. Guy turns out to be he comes out in his garage. He's got all the stuff in the garage like that. He's got his shirt off, and he's long-haired dude, ponytail. He's got a cigarette. It's like that. Hey, you here for those raw deal cards? Yeah, I'm Tony. It's like that. I'm like, okay, I'm sticking away. And he's pulling out some old, any interest in some of these posters too? I got some old Undertaker posters and this and that and da-da-da-da. And he wants to talk wrestling with me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just kind of here for the raw deal cards, man. And you have it on there like $0, but you won't say what you want for them. And yeah, I'm looking to get this. Like, okay, had I known that, I wouldn't have made a trip over here, dude. So I'm like, I'm out of here. I find that a lot on even Macari to a degree like that, but on OfferUps, Facebook marketplaces, people posting things for $0 and they want you to inquire. That drives me insane. You put a price and just live with it. And we can negotiate from there. I can go, but to put Zerk, I don't know what's really worth, so I don't want to be undervalued. I want to be, haggle with you. I'm like, just put a price.
And I love haggling, but I'm going to stop right there. And this is still social media because we're talking about this, but I'll also put this into card shows or, LCSs, card shows, social media. If you're trying to sell, put the price on it.
Put the price.
It's that simple. You can haggle from there, but put the price.
It became like some raw deal Facebook groups, people talking, they'll put a couple things that irritate me, like that kind of stuff. They do raw deal stuff. They go hey, I have a complete master set of Randy Orton raw deal cards, missing this, this, and this. First off, it ain't complete because you just listed the things that are missing. So don't call it complete. Secondly, don't put, make me an offer. Tell me what you want for it. I want to offer you nothing. Okay. You want $1 million. Okay. Well, now we have places to start negotiating. So let's work our way down to a price to what you're happy with. What do you want out of it? It drives me insane when they don't have a price because, I don't know if I'm going to selling it too cheaply or if I'm going to, they want to get the most for it. I get it. People's mentality when it comes to selling merch just kind of, it weirds me out sometimes. I mean, recently I had someone who I wanted images or something. I wanted images for WTC. I wanted something like, hey, collectors like to know UPC numbers, what a package looks like, what the box looks like. Can you send that to me? It'd be great. I'll put you on the contributors page like that.
Which generally those are all over Google Images, but sorry.
Yes, you would assume so, yes. But things I hadn't seen before that I didn't have to go out and look for, like you have them. Can you send me the images for it? It'd be great. Hey, I'm really trying to maximize, get the most out of my items that I have. I think they're very rare. And if you put them on your website, then people will know about them and they probably won't get as much money for them then.
Yeah, that's what
it makes no sense to me.
Yeah, that's what happened to those 82 Hogans. Those things just plummeted.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to. The more we don't know about them, the more they're valuable they'll be. I don't get the logic there, but the same thing can be on these social media pages and marketplace. When you put $0, just put a price. I've done a lot of business on Facebook Marketplace, not just cards, even personally. I've gotten rid of old CD players or old printers. I'm probably going to use Facebook Marketplace to get rid of some of those things I've sent you images of, like Sin City statues like that. I don't want to ship that someplace that's going to potentially be damaged because it's such a fragile piece.
Right.
I really just do a local Facebook Marketplace pickup and sell it that way.
Have you ran it? Now, you just gave an example of the guy in his garage. Have you ran into any kind of shady stuff with Marketplace meeting?
That was kind of shady. Not Marketplace, not so much Marketplace. I haven't done anything where I've gone to go buy something. I've sold on Marketplace. Both my wife and I have both sold things through Marketplace. That all of them have been pretty good. I think I had one. I sold a printer for like $5. Just get rid of it, an old printer that, I don't know. It's brand new. It was like maybe $35-$40. It was an old Canon, whatever it was. And the person comes back to me like almost a month later to say, "Hey, forgot to mention, thank you for selling me the printer that doesn't print." And I go, "It was $5. I would have been happy to give you your $5 back. At least you took that out of my house."
Yeah.
But I haven't gone anywhere to pick anything up before.
Do you want to talk about OfferUp some more, since I don't have as much?
OfferUp is cool. I like it because I've bought a lot of cool wrestling cards off of OfferUp, and I do it both for locally, and I can set the perimeter how far I want to buy from. Like I do a 20-mile radius of pickup only. I don't want shipping. I don't want to pay for any of the shipping stuff. So I've done very well when it comes to my raw deal stuff that way. I've gotten some amazing deals that way. But I also stretch my stuff going, you know what? My aunt loves to use OfferUp out in California. So I say, "Hey, do you mind if I do some searches out in like, Fullerton area where you're at?" It's like that. And she goes, "No, go back. I'll go pick it up for you. When you come back up to California, you can pay me for it." I go, "Absolutely."
Awesome.
And I've gotten some really good card deals that way. I found some some Royal Rumble sets that way from WWE Royal Rumble.
Awesome.
I'll take those Randy Ortons out of there. I'll take those John Cena's out of there. And the person like, I threw in an extra Undertaker action figure for your son. It's like that. So my son's one of his first figures, Undertaker action figure. It's a WWF figure, by the way, with the little
bone
metal thing on the bottom that connected to a stage that played the music.
Oh yeah.
So he has that. I know it's WWF because it has a little WWF microphone in his hand. I had to take out, and then gave me like a Bailey Funko Pop, like just an extra throw in, to get rid of it. Smoking deal, but I like OfferUp. I don't use it as much. I think I stopped using a lot of them because of my phone. It's all app based, and my phone has been acting up, not giving me notifications, so I never know when someone's responding to my stuff without me. But I like OfferUp a lot, which I guess they're also tied in with Let Go.
I've not used that, but I know of it.
What I don't like about OfferUp, here's my con about it. Ease of use first is my thing. First off, I find good deals in there too. What I don't like is I don't like it's tied into eBay and the apps, the eBay auctions as advertisements. And if you're not quick about it and smart enough, sometimes just clicking on it. Oh, that's a cool Hogan card. It launches your your eBay apps like that. It's at a full price. Buy it now. $500 for this card, kind of thing. Like that's not a deal I'm looking for. I mean, so they do that. I don't like the ads.
One other thing before we transition out of this, just another story. And I think a lot of people need to learn this from a customer service standpoint. If you're trying to sell something and you if you have to price it to sell, if you're really wanting to get rid of it, you got to be able to work at it. Unlike, Newport guy with the ponytail that you had to deal with, he's asking way too much. And prime example, I found a lot of NWA Wonderama cards on Marketplace that were local, and it didn't have any of the big cards in it, but it was like, there was like 80 or 90 cards in there, and he was asking $70. And I'm like, okay, well, that's still under $1 a card, but if I'm going to sell them for $1 or $2 a card, I still got to get that lower, right?
Yep.
So I messaged him and I'm like, hey, I think it's $75. And I said, I'll give you 60. And he comes back with, well, I don't know. I've got a lot of people inquiring about these cards. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not paying any more than this. So you can take the 60 or I'm just going to leave. And he's like, yeah, there's a lot of people wanting these. I'm like, okay, well, fine. No big deal. So like, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 hours later, I get a message. Hey, will you do 65? Oh, wait a minute, what happened to all this demand that there was, and that's why I'm saying, like, you got to price things and you got to be willing to take offers. Just, you got to keep it moving. You can't sit on stuff for too long.
You get strange people like that. I will give you one too from OfferUp. I had someone who had a wrestling collection of various things on it, cards. And I happened to see the pictures and I go, okay, so it had some cards I was really interested in going. And I inquired, I said, hey, could you let me know, does it have cards from this card set? And this, wasn't giving too much specifics because you don't want to give too much information. I said, oh, what do you, and he comes back at me and goes, oh, well, these are I listed them for my son. And they're my son's cards. And he just let me know that it has this card and this card are going for big money on there. So we're actually we're changing the price on it.
Yeah, of course.
So I said, okay, well, I'm out. And then the next day I get a message saying, yeah, I told my son that he couldn't do that kind of stuff. So we're putting it up for this price, like that with some better other pictures too. Because the cards I asked about were not featured in the pictures. I saw cards from that set. I wanted to know if other cards from that set that I was interested in were in that set. He said, yes, they were. So I was waiting. He never updated the pictures on it, lowered the price below what from what he was asking for, but right around what I was offering. And I just walked away from it. I couldn't just.
Yeah. Even there's times where like, if it gets to the point out of principle, like none of these things we buy or these collectibles, they're not needs.
Yeah.
So out of principle, a lot of times if somebody's playing, if it's not somebody that I know personally or have built a friendship with through social media, if they're just playing hardball, I'll just leave. Like,
it's just like, it's like dating, man. It's like, I don't, let's not play hard to get. Do you want to do it or not?
Mall rats, cigarettes, and dating. Yeah. What's next in this show?
You never know. We'll just figure it out as we go along here.
All right, let's move on to ComC. I absolutely love ComC, but they've just since COVID, they've kind of gone downhill for numerous reasons. But
and I know nothing about this platform, by the way, nothing about it.
Okay, so it's kind of like eBay, except it's just cards, but it's more of a storefront. So they have auctions that actually are on eBay. That's kind of confusing, but so you type in a card and it brings them up. If they have them, they're the actual scans of that actual card, and they can be priced, for as little as a penny, literally a penny, up to thousands of dollars. And they take a small percentage, but the thing that's cool is you can buy it and then immediately relist it. So you can buy and sell, but you don't actually physically have to ever touch the cards. So it's kind of like a collectible NFT sort of thing in a way. But like I said, you can get those things also cross-listed on eBay. So if I have a card that I have listed for 50 cents, what they'll do is they will sometimes relist those for 99 cents on eBay. They'll take that extra profit, and then after your fees, you get, say, 35 cents.
Gotcha.
So that's another cool thing. But I think the biggest thing is you don't have to house the cards. They have their warehouses, and the fact that you can transact, buy, sell, you can send cards into them. If you can end up taking the stuff that you've sent into them and just leave it there, and it sells little by little, 5 cents here, $1 here, 50 cents here. Eventually that'll add up and you're like, oh, I've got $100. I can buy a cool PC card and then have that shipped to me.
Are they charging you a storage fee for that stuff? Obviously.
If you're keeping cards 74 cents or under, which is what I try to do, you don't get charged anything. You have to pay an ingestion fee, and that's kind of a con, which I'll touch on. But as far as and then they take a sales percentage, which is very small. But overall, I sent a whole bunch of American Idol cards in there, and those have been doing okay for, priced around 60 cents. And I know a lot of people out there only want to deal with thousands and hundreds of dollars of cards, but
but when you have 1,000 cards and you're making, a quarter a piece on each one, it's like that after fees.
Exactly.
I don't know. Do the math. 25 cents times 1,000. That adds up.
Yeah. And ingestion fees, customer service, and the times of shipping. These have all gone downhill since COVID. So the ingestion fees used to only be 25 cents a card, I want to say. So, and sometimes even lower than that. So you're like, okay, if I can list a card for 50 cents, sell it, and get, say, 45 cents out of it, I'm not having to pay a housing fee, just that ingestion fee. You're still making 20, 25 cents a card profit. Mm-hmm. If you're into the card for a penny, it's a win.
Yeah.
So now their lowest you can do that is 50 cents. So by the time you pay your shipping, Like you've got to be very, very careful, and the margins are like razor thin now on that.
Yeah.
The other thing is the shipping, and I just ran into this, so I've got a really good example. I bought some Onita FMW rookie cards. I bought them actually on eBay, and they're very affordable. And I waited and I waited and I went, and so I think I went 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I emailed them, and they're like, "Hey, we're bogged down, and we understand you don't want to deal with this waiting in the shipping, so you can cancel your order." And I'm like, I don't want to cancel my order. I want these cards.
Yeah.
And there's no reason that you shouldn't. And so they gave me a refund on my shipping, and I actually just got them in 2 days ago. So it took almost a month and a half probably to get these cards, and there's just no excuse for that. And their feedback has just gone just down the tubes. So it's they had an opportunity to step up, I thought, when a lot of these other platforms like PSA is overloaded and ComC is overloaded too, but they had an opportunity, and I think there's some other online platforms that have just kind of taken over. So
Like who?
next one, Starstock, we'll actually
Star-
talk about. But you don't have anything on ComC?
I have nothing. I just know them because I've never used their service. I think I talked to you about doing that once, and I created an account, and I'm like, this is just not something I'm going to probably be able to spend my time into.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've seen obviously a lot of their stuff on eBay, it's like that, from this to this price, you can buy it. It's like that. And
yeah, I guess I forgot. I should have said pros too. So they have to house all the cards. They're the ones dealing with shipping. They're the ones dealing with returns. You just pay your fee to get them to take it, scan it, and it sits there. So it's very ease of use. And they take all kinds of things too. They take wrestling cards, sell really well on there. All sports, of course. They have comic books. They have I don't think they have Raw Deal, but they have the Star Wars trading card games, the Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon and all that kind of stuff. So transition into sport lots. I'll just touch on this real quick because this is a wrestling podcast and they don't do wrestling right now. But at the time, at their ingestion fees, I think are like 20 or 25 cents a card flat. And then they don't charge you to house the cards once you pay that ingestion. So they just sit there. And then I think they charge you like 5% to sell. But it's just like ComC. You have the cards on there. You can buy and sell in real time. You can buy, like, I've started my Buffalo Bills team super collection, whatever. So like I'm buying a lot of new cards that eBay, people on there are listing them for $1, $2, $3. I'm buying them on Sport Lots for 10 cents, 50 cents, 75 cents. So really, I haven't had any cons with them. The shipping rates, I guess, can be a little bit high. I think it's like $5 plus 50 cents a card for up to 100 cards. So that's a little bit high on the shipping, but really, other than that, I haven't had any complaints with them. But again, they're just doing main sports right now. They're not doing wrestling. They're not doing UFC. They're not even doing F1. So just
are they? Is that something that's going to grow, or are they just going to stick with sports?
I don't know. They have expanded into sealed wax, so that's something I profited from. I haven't actually sold a lot yet, but I was like, you know what? I don't need all the, like, you can see a lot of wax behind me here. I had probably triple that, and I just boxed it up in a priority box and sent it to them, so it's in their warehouse now, and I don't have to deal with it. So they'll just take their cut when I sell it. Who knows when that will be. But yeah, that's like they've expanded into vintage graded now. So if you have some of the big stars, like I know I saw Deion Sanders, I've seen some Shaq, some LeBron, Jordan, stuff like that. If you have those, so they're little by little expanding it out instead of like a lot of these other companies. They just was like, oh, we're jump off in the deep end. We're gonna do everything. We're open for business. They wouldn't do that. They're just slowly, little by little, they've been
smart.
changing. So we'll see. I don't know if they'll take wrestling in eventually, but we'll see. And lastly, and I know you can touch on this a lot too, LCSs and retail. So,
well, there's no more retail. So now the big news right now for retail is that Target to stop selling all that stuff. It's going to be online only, basically. It makes me like, I'm assuming it's all their cards, period.
All cards.
Yeah, all cards, even though they only list, like, we're not selling any NBA, Pokemon, they only list like a certain number of cards. I'm not sure, like, so that means wrestling is affected too, but I guess it probably is. But that's not the case with Walmart though.
Not yet, but I can tell you, I was just there yesterday, and it's just bare. Like they've already taken out half of the section of cards and replaced them with masks.
Oh,
So, like, and they're replenishing it. Like I can tell that they like. I think there were some Marvel Panini stickers, which is a newer release. Those were in there.
okay.
There was like one package of Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. There was some Magic stuff. All the wrestling was gone. All the regular sports were gone. I think there was maybe a little bit of hockey. Garbage Pail Kids were gone. It's wild out there.
It is wild out there. I mean, I don't even bother going when I go to Target down the street. I don't even bother checking in the card section anymore. It was always bare for me anyway. So every time I went there, it was bare. And the only time they had something would be like, some weird Pokemon type packages like that, and some Magic packages, and then maybe a hockey box or something like that. Again, all things that I don't care anything about at all.
I've gotten really lucky with a lot of my Walmart trips. I've been able to find a lot of the older blaster boxes marked down to like $9.
Nice.
So actually, just recently, I picked up I think it was 2018 SummerSlam. Like, there's not that much good stuff in there, but come on,
No.
A seal blaster for under $10. Look at what the blasters and boxes of like stuff is doing now from like 5 years ago.
Yeah, my local card shop has a guy that goes around and he cleans them all out, cleans out all the local places, so he has them there at the store to sell.
Yep, and that's and then let's talk about the LCSs. You seem to have a pretty good relationship with the guy that at your store.
Yeah, he's actually a very nice guy, and mom and pop place, and he's doing really well over there. Kind of growing and expanding other things besides sports. He does like your typical card shop. He's bringing wrestlers in there. So I brought in Chavo Guerrero back there in February, bringing Heath Slater in next weekend. But it's typical card shop. Like I was never a big card shop guy anyways. Like I would go there to see what they kind of had. In the early 90s, yeah, I was all over that. But now because pricing is so high, it's like that. And they mark it up on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I can just get a better deal on eBay. It's like that, But he doesn't care when it comes to wrestling. I first came to this shop because I went to a card shop, like my first card show I ever went to since I moved to Arizona. And I went to it and nobody had wrestling. Nobody had it. So I inquired and I went to every table and I said, any wrestling cards? No, they don't have. Some guy goes, no, but there's a guy down here off of 35th like that you want to go to. It's called 3D Sports Cards. And I go, okay. So I went and I checked it out. I went in there, told him I was recommended by someone else, and he said he was a big wrestling fan. So his name is Daryl, good guy, and he's a big wrestling fan. And he found out what I do for a living, and that I work with a lot of these guys. And so all of a sudden he wanted to talk to me. And next thing you know, now we're doing business together and it's like that. And he's giving me some product once in a while to bust open for box breaks. And but I don't think I'd ever buy anything though. I wouldn't buy anything there. I think I did one buy because I went in to drop something off and I saw there's a stack of like 98 superstars sitting there. And I go, oh, I said, where'd you get this? Oh, somebody came in today and brought him in. I bought this collection off someone. And I go, oh, can I look at it? Oh yeah, sure. It was a great steal for me. Right. So he shows me the whole stuff and I go in, there's like probably, I think there's 3 complete sets in there, plus a bunch of singles. And then there's like the Crow City of Angels set in there too. Like just random. And I said, well, how much you want for all of it? And I'm like, oh my guy's he's going to know. I mean, he's just going to know. He goes, I paid $30 for the whole lot. Give me 55 or 50. So I make something out of it. I go, sold, I'll take it. Yeah. There was like 6 Rock, in there, 7 Stone Cold. I mean, it was just perfect. It was awesome.
Yeah. I think, it's pros and cons. Like the LCS that I've always dealt with, super cool guys. They don't try to beat you over the head with anything. Just let you do your thing when you walk in. I love getting supplies there because people have marked those up online now.
But aren't you finding that even your local card shop supplies their prices are high too?
No.
Really? Because he marks up all his stuff too. He's like, yeah, they're costing him. I think because he's not a direct from the distributor type of guy, he buys his things through. I think he piggybacks off other people's orders. So they market. So he's dealing with manufacturer, distributor, another guy, and then him, so he's got all these guys marking up. So I just don't think he gets the same kind of pricing. So I'm kind of hoping he does that for when I want to order my case with him, that I can get something good from him.
the other thing that's kind of a downfall is what you said. Like a lot of them don't have wrestling. I looked everywhere in the whole. I was actually just at my LCS. I guess it'd be last weekend, and they had one wrestling item in the whole place, and it was a Stone Cold Steve Austin action figure, and it was like thrown over with everything else that no one wanted.
Yep.
But they don't have any cards, even sealed product. Like there's none.
He
So
had cards when I went there, and he said he only had singles from like the last couple of years of stuff, like various scattered through, like maybe some NXT or something like that, or Road to WrestleMania. Nothing really great. And I noticed he had in the display case, he had a sealed box, factory sealed box of the 2002 Fleer's WF Ultimate Diva collection.
that's
And I'm like,
to have that.
yeah, just of all things. And then I look at the price tag and I go, God, he wants $125 for that box. And I go, everything that's good in that box was done by Redemption.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's another topic for another show. But I don't
And
think.
then next to that, he had like a stack of like 1960s boardwalk wrestling cards. Like he had
Cool.
he had like a Bruno Sammartino, he had like a Luthez, like that, and then some other oddball stuff like that. But other than that, nothing.
Yeah, so I guess, and it also depends on what you're collecting, because I do buy the occasional sports thing, or I might buy sports cards just to flip to then put
Sure.
into wrestling. But when I walk in, it's just a fun experience, like and it was really exciting for me because, we both get bombarded with, market talk, market crash, thousands of dollars here, $1 million cards. And I was in there and they had a whole section of cards that were free. And these kids came in and they would get free cards. And I saw a kid and his dad talking about these players that nobody's talking about just because they liked them. They didn't care how much they were. They weren't that big of cards, but they were big to them. And they were collecting like together. It was just like the card store is just such a fun atmosphere to me.
That's kind of what, because as you know, and I've talked about before about opening up a store here in Phoenix, I'm going to be opening up a wrestling themed store here. And I'm going to be carrying cards. I've already been buying, like I've been dealing with Chuckster. I bought a bunch of 35 something cards off sets off of him. I'm just going to have a bunch of things that I kind of want to get out there and let the kids in the area, I want to get them in the younger collectors' hands like that. They're used to collecting. They're doing the Yu-Gi-Ohs and the Pokemons and the Magics. No matter how expensive it is, they're still buying packs. So they're wrestling fans. They're wrestling fans, and I want to get them to get it. There's nothing greater than watching a family member like that doing that. There's a card game called Super Show. It was a dice card game, kind of like Raw Deal, but it's independent stuff. And I was going to carry it as a product, and I was doing demos of it at the Wrestling Guy store in Los Angeles when I lived in California. And in comes, we're playing the games, just having fun at the tables in the middle of the store, playing games. And like, hey, what's that? What's that? What's that? And a father-son came in, and it's like that. And they ended up sitting down playing a game, and just watching them picking up on the game and how simple it was to play, and them having fun and going, oh, I can't believe you kicked me and super kicked me. And they were having a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to watch them get into that.
Right. Yeah. That sounds like the same similar thing that I was having as I was flipping through the cards. Like, oh, there is a world out there of normal people that are not, what we're exposed to all the time. But I think we've given everybody a pretty good run of the gamut on where you can buy and sell cards. I think, to the average person that's in our circles, they're like, oh, you just go to eBay, or oh, you just go to Target. But it's just, the world's changing. It's not that easy anymore. And sometimes it is easier to get cards elsewhere.
Which is an interesting thing, by the way, because I've ran a segment on my YouTube channel from collectors from around the world. And I've talked to collectors from the UK. I talked to one from Malaysia. I had one up from a guy from Australia. And it's interesting that they're different markets on how they purchase their cards and where they get them from. That here in the States, we're kind of fortunate we actually have a lot of card shops. When you think about it from a grand scale, they don't have that in other countries, it seems like. Everybody's like, well, I don't really have someplace locally. We have a local retail store, like a grocery store that carries them, like maybe Slam Attacks or something like that. But I have to buy all my stuff in from the States. And so it's like I have to pick and choose because the shipping rates become so astronomical. It's like what a $100 box for you with shipping ends up being like $150 to $200 box for me because of all the, I have to pay, duties on that.
Right.
I said duty. And then, and then, so it's just interesting to hear from other collectors from other places that, yeah, we have eBay, which is global, but it's just card shops are kind of a dime a dozen here, but far and few between other places, it seems like.
Card shows too.
Card shows too. Like nobody has card shows anyway. Like the guy in Malaysia, no card shows of any kind. The guy in Australia, yeah, but he has to travel like 3 hours in some direction to go to a show that's maybe once a year, every other year. UK, nothing. No, they go to like a pop culture convention. There might be somebody carrying cards there, but no card shows.
And as big as sports are, it's amazing that there's like, we're not talking about just wrestling here. It's just in general.
Over there, globally, soccer is like the thing, like you would think they would have that. And the guy I talked to from Australia, that was his number one thing, that he runs a YouTube channel talking about soccer cards, but he also dabbles and collects wrestling cards. And, that's for him. It's like soccer was easy for him to come by in his country, but wrestling, not so much.
Can you imagine? I've as much problems as we have here dealing with grading companies. Can you imagine what those guys have to deal with?
I know, like it's insane. Like not only having to, submit stuff and waiting forever for it to get there, then to get there and then wait the year plus for it to get graded and then having to ship back. It's like, it's so expensive for them. I feel their pain.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we've covered a lot of topics today. Hopefully this helped you guys just kind of find some new ways to buy and sell.
And if people who listen to this have other ways they're going out, I mean, obviously some guys like to, like, I don't want to give my tricks of the trade, man. I want to tell you where I'm getting my good stuff from. Stupid. I mean, I've recently been, I've been doing a lot of Japanese auctions, and
that's something else I've heard some people do, and
I'm doing really well with that. I just came across a 1982-83 card set from, features a lot of Lucha Libre guys that I'd never seen before, that came from a magazine. And it's a full 64 card set that I picked up. And what did I do with it? I don't even know what happened to it.
Already sold it.
No. I got to scan it all because I need the images, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Then I'll sell it. But I find things on there like, I find stuff like, this thing on there from, Stardom. And again, like kind of like shopping here in the States, sometimes you find a really good deal. Sometimes you don't. I mean, sometimes you pay a lot.
Well, I hope we've helped everybody today in kind of navigating the world of buying and selling and pros and cons. You got anything else before we get out of here?
No, man. I'm really interested in hearing from people. Hopefully they have comments about other places that you can find. I want to check them out.
And on a different note, I also want to hear stories kind of like what we've told today. Do you have any nightmare stories from, fights at the retail store or local card shop guys pricing things that smell like Newport, or, meeting the people in public and just being creepy? Like the stories that we went back and forth with, I thought were entertaining. So if you guys have those stories out there, we want to hear about them.
I do.
Speaking of that, make sure to subscribe and share this. Tag us on social media. It's the best way to get the word out. And everybody go find Tony. Tony, where can they find you?
WrestlingTradingCards.com. Everything is there.
And I'm on all the social platforms, typically Zhan Morning and Wrestling with Cards on YouTube. And don't forget to go check out the WTC YouTube channel as well, where you can hear those interviews with the collectors from around the world, because it is definitely an interesting perspective.
Thank you for that.
No problem. Until next time, see you guys.
See ya.